What's going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and it's time to talk about The Legend of Korra, Book 2, Spirits, aka the bottom of the barrel. That's right, across all three comic book trilogies and all 7 seasons of Korra and Avatar combined, this is the bottom of the barrel. And you know what's incredible about that? It's still decent. That's right, at the bottom of the barrel, the worst of the worst in the Avatar series is still decent. It still has things to like about it, and it's just another testament to show how amazing this franchise really is, and really why I'm doing Avatar Month and celebrating its 10th anniversary. It's not about the views, although I like views. It's more so about celebrating what an amazing series this is and talking about what an incredible piece of fiction it is. So, without further ado, I'll get into the summary, the characters, pros and cons, and I'll call it a review. Okay, so for the plot summary, Season 2 takes place 6 months after the end of Season 1, where Korra defeated the Equalists. It starts off with them going to a spirits festival in the South Pole, Korra's home, where she meets up with her uncle who wants to use her abilities to sort of rejoin the North and the South, because the South has apparently lost its spiritual fucking mojo. It's all bullshit, he's an obvious villain, but I digress. He wants to use her to open spirit portals and use her avatar abilities to his advantage. He has the northern tribe do like a military occupation on the south. A civil war breaks out. They find out he's working with possibly dark spirits, and they have to stop him, stop the civil war. And while all that's happening, Asami and Mako and Bolin have like useless, irrelevant stuff to do with Varric, who is an amazing character. I fucking love Varric, but I'll get to him in the characters section and the pros and cons. But yeah, that's the basic setup. So, without further ado, I'll move on to the characters. Okay, so moving on to the characters, I've already talked about them in the first review, but I guess I'll talk about how they've changed, I guess. Asami, not at all. Bolin, not at all for the most part. He goes through like the whole I'm a movie star nuck-tuck phase, and he's all badass and shit, but again, not too much, not too focused on. Mako, mostly the same. I liked him when he broke up with Korra and would tell people, like, I know I'm right about this whole police case. No one believes me, but I know I'm right. That was cool. The one-liners that he tries to, he writes them down, and he has the cheesy one-liners like a cop from an 80s movie. That was funny. So he's slightly better, but he still fumbles in the relationship stuff. He's still a douchebag when it comes to that stuff, so yeah, he's slightly better. He's slightly improved. Then we have Korra, our main character, and the writers of the show, with their amazing brains, I don't know what drugs they were on when they made this decision, but they was not the good kind. They were like, yeah, we developed Korra, we made her a stubborn and hot-headed thuggish character, and we developed her. We made her mature and patient, and that's what we did in the first season. We're going to do that again, but we're going to crank up her stubbornness and her thugness and her bitchiness to 11. She was at like a tolerable level of confident and prideful and stubborn in the first season. In this season, she's cranked up to 11. It is almost intolerable watching her bitch out on Tenzin and her dad. And, well, her dad's kind of justified a little bit, but on Tenzin, you don't bitch out on Tenzin. He's fucking Tenzin. You give the man the respect he deserves, but I digress. Korra's an awful character in this season. She's unlikable at the start. Her character development gets completely reset, which makes the first season completely pointless from a character development standpoint. And yeah, it's just an overall flawed character in this season. She redevelops and she gets better towards the later half, but still, should not have reset her. Even if there were time constraints and you had to rush this season out, there was no reason to reset the character like that. Awful writing. So, those are the characters, well, the main characters. Moving on to the side characters, Tenzin, he's the same, still awesome. Lin Beifong, awful. Once again, not like Korra, because Korra, they reset her. Lin Beifong, I don't even, what the fuck did they do? They fucking gave her stupid pills. Like, everything she does in this season is dumb and goes completely against the kind of character she was in the first season. It's extremely inconsistent, she's a complete retard, who's like, oh, Mako, you only helped defeat Amon and you're totally a trustworthy person, but you're a stupid rookie cop. Fuck you, I'm gonna listen to these two obvious incompetent cops over here. These detectives. Whatever. And oh, what do you know? He was right about it all along. Fucking Lin Beifong is stupid in this season. I don't know what the hell they were doing. That was awful writing as well. Let's see. So then we have our villains. Varric. Oh, Varric. And then, well, he's kind of a villain, not really. And then Unalaq. And Unalaq's meh. Unalaq's the main villain, and it's obvious he's a villain from, like, the moment you see him. He's boring, he doesn't have really that intimidating of a presence or a voice. Nothing about when he appears is all that intimidating. He's just bland and boring and nowhere near as good as Ozai or Amon or Azula. Oh, great villain, love Azula. And, yeah, so he's just boring. He's a weak villain. Then you have Varric, who is fucking pure gold. Everything this man says is absolutely hilarious, on point, just... He's fucking phenomenal. Hilarious character. And that's pretty much the main cast. There's also Eska and Desna, the son and daughter of Unalaq. They're twins. Not too much to say. They have some funny lines. Not really that developed. They're alright. So, that's the characters. Now to move on to the pros and cons. Okay, now for the pros and cons. For the cons, you already know how I feel about Korra and Lin Beifong and Unalaq as a villain. Those detract from the season greatly. What also detracts greatly from this season is the pointless shit. You know how the probe ending was the pointless shit in the first season, but it was still kind of fun to watch? Like, it could get a little boring, but still, it's got a fun announcer, he has a cool voice, some cool action with the probe ending. This has the whole Varric plotline. Now, Varric's great, he is, but Bolin being a movie star, this whole, you know, I don't think it was Northern Water Tribe that bombed the theater or whatever, and Asami and her business almost going under because her dad was an equalist and no one wants to touch their business because of that. It has no bearing on the Civil War, practically. Like, literally none. It has no bearing on the spirits and Vaatu and Rava and all that stuff. Nothing to do with that stuff. It's just something for those characters to do. They try to set up a sting operation. It's meandering around. It's not getting anything done. It's not that interesting. As I said, Mako still kind of bland, Asami exactly the same. Bolin, funny, the movers that he's in, you know, their version of movies, those are funny. But it's just kind of pointless, doesn't need to be there. It wastes time in the middle section of the season. Then you have the redeeming part of this season, Beginnings Parts 1 and 2. So I guess I'll move into the pros. Actually, no, I have a few more cons to get to. Let's see. The finale, the big giant Korra versus Vaatu, Kalada Niktu, Unalaq. It's kind of lame. It's a little too overblown. They're not even really using martial arts. They're just wrestling. She shoots like a cleavage beam out of her boobs. It's not like fan service or anything, but it's just, it looks weird. It's kind of a cool clash, but like really from your chest, that look kind of like, it's just this weird overblown Godzilla-like thing that just doesn't really fit in Avatar. And the way she just immediately fuses with her cosmic self, even though she's horrible at meditation. Aang had to learn and master all his inner chakras in order to meet with his cosmic self. She does it instantly. We know she didn't learn the cosmic energy, you know, opening her chakras, because she doesn't act like she did. Even though there's a 6-month time skip, and she's using the Avatar state as a fucking power boost, which she should not have mastery over that either. Same problem, didn't master the chakras, it was just given to her by Aang. Like, why didn't Roku just give Aang control over the Avatar state? You know what I mean? No, it's bullshit. So yeah, those are flaws as well, those are cons. The pros, though, Beginnings Part 1 and 2 are better than this entire season put together. I'm not even kidding. The story of Avatar 1, the first Avatar, and get it, 1, okay, yeah. It's fantastic. The animation style they chose, the whole spirit world being mixed with the human world, the lion turtles, his character development, him fusing with Rava, the way they play the original theme from Avatar when he's trapping Vaatu with all the elements. Oh, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's an amazing two-parter. It's probably the best part of the entire Legend of Korra series. I'll have to rewatch Season 3 to really tell you. Well, I'll rewatch it all the way through. Obviously, I'm reviewing, you know, Avatar month. I gotta do it tomorrow, but yeah, I'll have to think about it. But I think the Beginnings is the best part of the series. You have Korra lose her memory for a second. I was kind of, you know, iffy about that, but it ended up not really mattering, so not a pro or a con. Almost forgot. Uncle Iroh. Oh, fucking Uncle Iroh was here. He gave advice. He hugged little baby Korra. Awesome. Fantastic. 11 out of 10 right off the bat for Iroh being there in that episode. And like I said, Korra's development in this season is good when she gets redeveloped. It's just horrible that they reset the character with no explanation. Another pro is Tenzin bonding with his brother and sister and arguing about their relationship with Aang and everything. It was really good. It has nothing to do with the main plot. It's part of the meandering, bullshit that doesn't push anything forward. But it was good. It was, it was what I'm talking about when I say you can meander around a little bit and you can have a little bit of filler as long as it's still good and as long as it's still engaging and entertaining. And this was, seeing them argue and seeing them agree and disagree and seeing how they act as a brother, sister, family. It was very good. Korra's final battle with Unalaq before they get big is a really cool fight. That's a really badass fight. Once they turn giant, it gets lame and wonky, but before that, they had a really good fight. As I said before, the movers with Bolin and everything, those are very funny. The comedy is still great. Seeing Bolin beat down those Earthbender dudes and save the president, that was cool. But yeah, there are pros to this season. There are well-written parts to the season. As I said, it is decent overall, despite all of its shortcomings from a writing perspective. But if I had to review this season objectively, it is subpar at best, easily a 4.5 to a 5 out of 10. On an enjoyment level, I'd probably give it around a 6.5 to a 7. It's not as good as the first season by any stretch, but it is still decent. It's still enjoyable. It's still fun. Objectively, I would go below 5, honestly, or around 5 out of 10. It just barely passes. Just barely, and that's, like I said, all those problems. But still, I'll sit at score around a 6.8 to a 7. It's an almost good season, just decent at best, and that's being very lenient. So that's really all I have to say about this season. Nothing really else. I don't want to drag this on too long. So without further ado, thanks for watching this video. Tell me what you guys think of Book 2, Spirits of the Legend of Korra in the comments section below. Give me a thumbs up, that would be great. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you've liked what you've seen here, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.